So today we're finally going to review the OMI AI ChatGPT device. So this device, the first thing you'll notice about this device is it's fashionable. It's the AI assistant that's fashionable. So it's not something that you put on the back of your phone. It looks pretty cool. Like if you walk into a room with this around your neck, you're gonna look like you're from Logan's Run or something. If you know, you know. But the little device here, it has a little light on it, and the light tells you what it's doing. Right now it's blue, so it's listening to my conversation. And if I disconnect my phone or disconnect the device from my phone and turn off my Bluetooth, then it'll go into red. And everything's done with taps. So you can single tap and ask it a question and it'll answer a question for you. I can double tap. I have it set so I can double tap after I'm finished talking and it'll process the conversation I just had. And it's pretty simple. It uses a wireless charging system, as you would expect, because there's no room for a USB-C charging on this thing. So it uses this little wireless charger. It looks like a phone charger. Pretty cool, right? These guys, so I got sent this device just before CES. So I really couldn't do much with it before CES. And then CES happened and I had a bunch of content I had to create for CES. So I really couldn't do much with this. I did play around with it. I had some issues with it. The battery power didn't really last as long as I thought it would. I also thought that by leaving it on and in listening mode, that it was draining my phone battery. Because the way this works is it connects to your phone and you put your phone on listening mode. So it's constantly listening to every conversation you have. As it's doing that and processing those conversations as they come in or translating them, it's using your phone battery. So I noticed my phone was draining hard, and it's kind of accidental because I would wear this. I'd wear it to work, and I'd have it. It would be blue all day. And it was listening to me all day long. And then I'd realize, oh my God, it's still listening to me. And then I'd stop it. And then it would list pretty much everything, every conversation I had for the day, which was pretty cool. But my litmus test for this was to do my ribeye steak recipe. One of the first issues I had with the device is when I opened the app and made the first connection, I could record a conversation or record myself talking to it, and it would process it, and then it would summarize the data. But if I went to do a subsequent recording or subsequent conversation, and it went to process, it would sit in processing for a second, and then it would stop processing, and you would never see the conversation. This was a bug, and this is something that I found out before I went to CES. So surprisingly, I accidentally ran into their booth at CES and I said, are you guys aware of this problem? You send me this device, but it doesn't process all the conversations after the first one. I have to completely close the app and reboot everything. So I told them that, and I come back home and notice there's a bunch of firmware updates. So right after CES, I came home, there was a firmware update. And they fixed that issue. So pretty much every time I do a conversation, it processes it. Great. Here's the other thing. So my litmus test was doing this ribeye steak recipe because, here's the thing. When I review new products, I hate to compare them with existing products, but I have to do this because it's all about pros and cons. The Plod, as you saw in my Plod video, I did the ribeye steak recipe. Not only did it list the ingredients, but it broke them down to preparation, ingredients list, actual cooking, everything that I said, it summarized perfectly and made it like one of those recipes you would see on a food or cooking site on the internet. It instantly made a perfect recipe. I'm like, oh my God, this is a chef's dream. So my litmus test was this. I'm going to do the ribeye test on this thing and see what it does. And what it would do is it has these apps. So apps or templates, just like Plod does. And I used a grocery list template, or I would create my own, which I really didn't understand. With any of these devices, creating your own app or your own template is just, I don't get it. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But it's also like with the Plod, I didn't need it because, it just did everything the way I wanted to. For this, I started trying to create templates to get everything the way I wanted. It wouldn't work. So anyway, I did the ribeye recipe on this, and it perfectly listed all the ingredients. But because I was using some grocery shopping template, it would list the ingredients and put checkboxes, non-interactive checkboxes next to the ingredients, basically saying I need to get those items, but all the rest of the stuff that I said when I was recording, it leaves it out. It doesn't include any of the recipe and the cooking and oiling the steak. And I'm like, okay, I've done it several times. I think I've only got it to work one time when I originally got the device. But then I was so stuck on getting those check boxes in there like the Plod does that I started screwing around with things. And so I ended up removing all the templates that I installed because it would always automatically use those templates to try and organize and summarize my data. So I said, let me get rid of all the templates and just leave it plain Jane. Did the steak recipe again, and it included everything that I said this time, but it wasn't really summarized in a recipe format. Mind you, it's late February now. There's been at least 2 firmware updates, maybe 3, since I originally got the device. So first thing I did when I turned it on is I did another firmware update. And it added the double click feature, so I can double click and summarize or process right away, because the problem is it's always listening. So as long as you keep talking, it's adding all that extra text to the summary that you may not want. So you want to double click to process right after it'll still keep listening, but it'll cut it off and process everything up until your double clicks, and then it'll start a new summary. It's kind of weird. It's cool. I mean, it's a really cool device. It's an AI assistant that's fashionable. As you can see, it looks really cool. Nobody knows what the hell this is when they see it. It's lightweight. This strap, which looks like some type of vinyl or plastic, I thought it would be irritating on my neck. It's not. It's very soft. I don't even know it's there. That's why I forgot about it when I took it to work one day. I'm like, I didn't even remember this was here and that it was on. Really comfortable. I have a pretty big neck. I think I have a 16-inch neck, so it fits everybody. It looks cool. It's fashionable. The software still needs some work. The summary still needs some work. Like I said, the recipe thing is a big deal for me, so I'm still going to keep playing with it until I can get it to spit out the recipe the way I want to. I didn't have to do anything on the Plod to get it to work like that. So I really want this to work, and I want it to be cool. Plod does have a device like this, a small device like this. I haven't used it yet, but I'm assuming because it uses Plod, it's going to operate the same. One of the cool features about the OMI software that you put on your phone is it can use any device. So if I want to use my Plod with the OMI software, I can. So I can use my Plod with the OMI software. And any other wearable AI assistant that's out there pretty much works with the OMI software. So that's pretty cool. I don't even, you know what, the current pricing for this? Let's see, works with Android and iOS, and it is $80. So it's typically $89. It's on sale for $80.10. And you can get this right on their website. Shout out to OMI for sending this to me. Sorry it took so long to review it. But whenever I get a product and I notice problems and I reach out to the company, I want to give them a chance to fix some of those issues. So they did fix the processing issue. I like to give them a chance to fix those issues before I do the review, because I could have easily went in and totally slammed this device. But I'm like, you know what? CES is here. Let me give them some time to work out some of their bugs, which they did. But they really need to work on that summary. You can ask it questions. You can ask it the weather, and it'll give you a full summary of the weather and what's going on. It's pretty cool. I mean, all the other stuff works pretty cool, but I think if they tighten up the software and get those summaries better, this could be something to look out for, because like I said, it's fashionable. Thank you for watching Davis Daily. I'll see you on the next episode.